I grew up in Guizhou, or more precisely, in the mountains of Guizhou. I have heard the name Xiaoqing countless times since I was a child, but for a child who lived in a landscape painting, it was not attractive to see another landscape painting. It was not until 30 years later that I suddenly realized that I was living in a painting. Only when I grew up and had money to buy a camera, I could finally treasure all of this. Many people don't understand why I call Guizhou a treasure, but after I left for many years, looking back at the scenery here, my childhood may be the kind of happiness that I can never find again. I actually have a natural resistance to visiting popular sites, and I didn't have any expectations before coming. I even felt a little physically uncomfortable when I saw this crowd. There are also separately charged buses available at any tourist attraction in China. I even had the desire to turn around and leave. In fact, my subsequent decision was the right one. Including this bus, I completely mistook Xiaoqing. If you look at any scene in Xiaoqing, you may find it everywhere in Guizhou, but why come here? Because you don't have to waste time and effort running around. You can visit them all in just one day. It's like the Disneyland of Guizhou's landscape. And what China lacks the most is landscape: Sichuan, Guangxi, Hunan, Fujian, and even Yunnan. But Xiaoqing belongs to Guizhou. All the pools, plants, rocks, streams, and waterfalls are matched together, just like a registered patent, belonging only to this place, not in other places, and can't be created. The most representative scenery of Guizhou is probably the waterfall, and Xiaoqing is simply a museum of waterfalls, with big waterfalls, small waterfalls, long waterfalls, and various streams. Anyway, the purpose of coming here is to see how water flows down in various ways. If you are a person who likes to paint Chinese paintings, I think you will be ecstatic when you come here, and you may not be able to finish painting in your lifetime. If Ansel Adams liked to take pictures of waterfalls, he would live in Libo. And I just walked back a mile without following the signs. I don't know why, all the tourists disappeared, and I actually enjoyed a waterfall alone. If this was not in the scenic area, I think I might have jumped in naked. Enjoy the harmonious coexistence of man and nature. From this perspective, I really envy the ancients. I completely underestimated the area of Xiaoqing. As I said before, it is absolutely impossible to come here without taking a bus. Otherwise, you may not be able to visit all the scenic spots leisurely. Just being in this water forest is enough for you. I've been walking for an hour, because just a few steps away, there is a view that you can't even look past. For someone like me who never likes to visit tourist attractions, I even think that the ticket price of more than 100 renminbi is quite value for money. Every time I go to a scenic spot, I always sigh at my friends who are crazy about taking photos. Sometimes I always wonder whether women will still travel in the future when artificial intelligence is extremely developed, because I always feel that they are more obsessed with taking photos than appreciating the scenery itself, and they may even think that their beauty will far exceed the scenery itself. In my limited photography experience, some people just enjoy the process of taking photos, and even forget to take photos later. This stone bridge is definitely not the most beautiful scenery of this scenic spot. But how can I prove that I have been there without taking a photo? So I also took photos seriously. If there weren't so many tourists here, I think you might forget where you are. If you imagine that if you accidentally walked into this place hundreds of years ago, would you not want to leave? Then I immediately returned to reality, because in ancient times, there were no tourists, and any place you walked into could become a paradise. When I was very young, I didn't realize that such clear water could be a tourist attraction. We almost spent our summer in the water, but now people have left the mountains and lived in skyscrapers. Such mountains and waters have become a scarce resource, and they have to be enclosed so that people in the city can only see them for a fee. Maybe this is how civilization progresses. People swarm to grab this thing, and then swarm to grab that thing again after a few decades. Why did I make this video? I think it was probably out of selfishness, because I spent my childhood in such a landscape. It doesn't really matter whether anyone watches this video or not. It's worth it to leave a memory for myself. Of course, if you can only choose one place when you come to Guizhou, I think Xiaokikang is the best scenery in Guizhou. I also hope that you will not miss Guizhou, which I call a treasure.